really excited to introduce different styles of shapes because I don't feel like you guys think that it's intimidating. But when you break it down and digest it and make little layers and registration lines, it becomes much easier for us to quilt. And actually, free motion quilting these odd shapes is, I think, a little easier because you can do it in sections and stop and go to the next section. Where on the automation, you usually have to connect them to make one design from beginning to end. So let's talk about odd shapes, okay? When we're talking about circles, I like to use templates, okay? And circle is not an odd shape, but it is to quilt it. Because as you're going around and trying to quilt it, you're going around and you have to figure out your directions. So this really helps with the muscle memory, you guys, for it. So I started with my registration lines, okay? And you'll notice that I added extras in there to help me. So I started from the top, I came down, I looped around, did my little paisley, came back around, and then I went back up to the top, okay? Or you could just stop, okay? Or you can start right here. You can loop around, come back, and come back up to the top and then loop around. So that's how I made this shape. And then I started adding elements to it. So I went across the top and added little arcs across the top. Now, when you're quilting arcs, they can be very challenging. You could use a circle template, but it's better if you just have a half so that you can make your arcs very even and precise. So when I'm using a circle or an arc, I will use a piece of tape, a mark where I'm starting, where I'm stopping, so that as I'm laying it down and moving across it using my ruler foot, I know exactly how much spacing there is. So use that tape. Just use a little piece of tape and mark your start and stop. You could even mark it with different colors so that you know which one's the start point and which one's the end point. But those templates are really nice. And I've purchased several. I mean, you guys should see my templates if you haven't. So I've purchased a lot of different templates. Okay, you can go out online and find them and they will really help you. But you can also just use a piece of paper, a piece of cardboard, cut out your circle, mark on it. That way you also have your template with your design in there. So use these templates that I've given you in this Quilters Playground to your advantage. And I really want to see how you guys are going to design your odd shapes. What designs are you going to start using? Start out with something simple and very basic. Just even an arc is very simple, very basic, but find a design that you're really comfortable with. I'm comfortable with spirals and paisleys. Those are kind of always my go-to. So I've worked really hard on developing those. And so I like to add those or incorporate those as I'm quilting. Okay, on this next page here, I want to talk to you about diamond shapes because they're really fun. The diamond shapes can also lead to some really cool designs. So notice right here, okay, so every quilter's playground, as I'm designing, guess what I'm doing? I'm actually making designs for the automation as well. So you will probably see these down the road. All right, so I just used little arcs back and forth, looping around, and a little circle on the top. That was a really easy and fun design to do, and it made a really beautiful diamond shape. This one right here is just that figure eight from beginning to end, just going up and around, making your loops. So if I were doing this, I would probably make a line in the middle, another line of just above the next loop, and one at the top. So I know where I'm going to stop my loop and make it so nice and consistent that it looks like it's automated, but we free motion quilted. Now this one right here is just a little spiral. I started in the center. I just went up and around, came back, up and around, came back. That's not a hard one to do. That's the top of the diamond, and then you'll just flip it over and do the bottom of the diamond. So this is the one with the two together. Then this one was pretty cool. I saw some, uh, 60-degree triangle shapes, but I liked that they did this little vine in the middle. And what you can do is play off of that. And I just did little spirals off one side. You could do feathers, you could do all sorts of things. Hearts would be another fun one to do. And then this one here is like, I thought was pretty cool, is I made it kind of like the Starship Enterprise, that comm signal that they have, and just put that in the middle. And it just makes it a little more modern and very interesting. So think of your quilt, whether it's modern, more traditional, and kind of gravitate towards designs that work in the spectrum that you have pieced your quilt in. Doesn't have to be. And so here is another one that I did. I just used my spirals again. I told you I'm really comfortable even with the automation and doing the spirals. But I went in, came back, and then I just kind of did the centerpiece and then did the opposite direction. Okay. So making it just a little more hexagon rather than a circle or an octagon or whatever. And then here is this one all put together with some 3 little points. So I just went over and around, came back, and did my 3 little points on it. So it'll be really fun to see what you guys do. And here's the design, all these little sections. So I don't even have to make them connect. I could do one section at a time, and that's the beauty of free motion quilting. I could stop and start where I wanted and just make it go all the way around, keeping it nice and precise and even. All right, this one may be a little quiet to you, so I'll talk about it after the fact, but here's my little video. My circle to make my marks, okay? And I just drew my design on because that's the way I can keep it more consistent, okay? So I'm going to start in the middle. What's nice about free motion quilting rather than automation is I can do this in layers and sections. So I'm going to start with the center and then come and do my outside where I can make each of these continuous. So I'm going to start here, go all the way around my flower. Then I'm going to start on these petals, come down, up, all the way around. Okay, next we have my diamond, okay? So I did my marks. I'm just going to do circles. Notice I didn't do the figure 8 on these because I don't think the figure 8 works as well as one continuous circle. And then this is my so-called hexagon. And so I already sewed it out. Again, I did it in layers. I did my center first. Notice how I over stitched on this one so it doesn't look like a little paisley at the end. So watch it as you're stitching. And my proportions aren't exactly right, okay? So make sure that you have the right template for your design, okay? And then map it all out on your quilt. And having the right template is really important. And so here's my design, okay? So after I stitched it all out, I just wanted to show you some things to look out for, okay? So my flower is pretty consistent, okay, as I was drawing it out. But it was my little arcs that I had some struggles with. Right, you'll notice that right here, as you're drawing your design, make sure you're using a ruler or a template. I just drew it on really quickly and went through it, but it will make it more precise and even if you use that ruler or that template, okay? Then the next one was, notice how it pulled away right here. This is because I had a piece of thread that I didn't know was there. And if you do not do your due diligence and do your pre-quilting checklist, making sure all the thread is out, wiping down your wheels and everything, it will get caught. Now, there was a dangling thread underneath that I didn't even know was there. So bring your threads up and cut them for sure. But just a cute, fun little design that, is very simple, not complicated, but a lot of fun. Okay, so that being said, here's another little design that could work as a hexagon or a circle. And this one is just arcs. Again, just coming down and going back up. Then you come down, going back up. This is definitely one that you want to look precise and even, but all I did was rotated it to work with a hexagon. So it would work for either or. So watch your designs out there and make sure. So in this quilter's playground, we're going to do a little playing. Okay, so on this, I am going to go up to my draw and I am going to click on my red and we're just going to play with adding elements in it. So I'm just going to come in, come back down. Here's another way that you could fill in this extra space. Don't judge me because I'm working with, sorry, see, it wants to change it. So I'm going to undo that and then go back and continue on. So you could go back and forth and fill this in, okay? Now, if you didn't like that, you could do a loop right here as your inspiration. And you could even do, hey, a big circle right here. So you could just do a circle. And when I'm talking about a figure eight, okay, I was talking about and like an S like this, and then coming back. Now, for free motion quilting, that doesn't, to me, look good. When you're designing an automation, you can make it actually work better. So when you're doing your pebbles, okay, I like to go all the way around, and I think it's really important to use a template and then come back around and then go back around. So you could actually do something like that, okay? Or you could come up and do another inside and keep doing that. See, it just doesn't want to work with me. That's the one thing I don't, if I hold on to it too long. But anyway, you could each actually come in and that looks pretty cool too. So what would you guys do to make this your own original design? I think it's really important for you. You can look at other people's design and receive inspiration, but I want to see you. I want to see how you would quilt it. I don't want you to be afraid of free motion quilting. Here's another one that you could do. You could do a zigzag back and forth in here. That could be fun. And then to make it even, you could just go like this and make sure that you're following, okay? Or you could just do some loops. So you could do, let's see, what would I do? Fill it in if you wanted to, just to make it simple. Or, okay, so the sky's the limit, only your imagination. You could even do little pebbles in here. That could make it a little interesting as we're working on it. And set it apart, and that would make that little pods look more like a little pod. All right, on this one here, we have a little bit different style, but have a lot of fun trying to decide on these templates. So I've given you several templates, you guys. You've got this 60-degree with the hexagon, and it's just on the flat end. So how would you do that? Would you make it more modern, going back and forth? Oh, well, it did it for me. So thank goodness for this. Now I just do another one. And you could actually stop and start and even make it, that could be really cool. And do this one. Okay, stop right there. All right, I'll go across then. I have to work with the tools that I have. Thank goodness it's making it straight. Okay, so you could also just come up out of this though and do something kind of fun like this. And then you could go, oh, stop it. Okay. And then I will go up like this. And I could go down like this. And I could actually go up again and keep going up and down. Okay, that's another thing that you could do. And you could also do this, okay? And the back and the forth. This could be a little fun one, just going back and forth and creating that kind of that shell. And that could be really cool all the way around as well. And then you could just do straight lines. So you could actually just go across and back and then make a crosshatch. Now I would use these lines here as my stitching in the ditch. And you could also go back if you wanted to do a crosshatch, or you could just leave it straight, or you could just do every other one. It doesn't matter. It's all up to you. You can add a lot of extra elements in it. So I'm just going to get rid of all of these. So and go back to it. This is also kind of a fun one as well. And I am going to erase this. But you could also do the top part, okay, as a design. You could make it a box right here and do straight lines or figure eights. So you could start right here and draw your little figure eight on the bottom and do something fun on the top. Use your registration lines to try and keep it, but this will make it a little different, okay? And then say you wanted to just do, you could even do the same thing, or you could just do a square or a hexagon like this. Come on. Right here. And then keep doing this over and over and over again. It kind of makes it different, simple, but a little cooler. So you don't have to be an artist, you guys, to come up with a design. You could do something like that. So enjoy these templates. Now I've got circle templates as well, okay? So I want you to use these and mark them up. You can also do circles with just starting from the center, doing a spiral, coming back out, coming back in. Now see, it has one, it has a mind of its own, you guys. There. And you could go all the way around. This is kind of a cool design to practice because as you're going around the circle, you'll have to get your motions correct so that you don't get turned around when you come down to do these. So if I was coming down, I want to start out like this, come down, come back in, and just go all the way around. I want you to challenge yourself as you quilting. Now, this is a circle that I've had actually outer layers to it, okay? So say you wanted to do just little spikes or one spike right here and do one a different direction. You could also do little lumps and bumps. You can make it into a circle, and you could also fill this in with little pebbles. Then we've got my diamonds. Diamonds are a lot of fun. See what you can do with the diamonds by adding those little vines in there and playing off of them. It actually makes the design look very intricate, but they're so easy to do. So these templates are here for you to try it out. So these circles right here, use a button or a circle template. Draw one, get one out and draw it around so you stay nice and consistent and even, okay? And make a complete circle, okay, before you move to the next. With free motion quilting, it'll give you a better end results when it comes to quilting out your pebbles or your circles. And then last but not least, we have our hexagons in different shapes, different sizes. I want you guys to really practice and play with these because it actually will help you become more confident in your quilting. Okay, my last few points I want to make, okay, is I want you to create your own designs. I don't want you to use others. You can use them as inspiration, but I want to see you in your designs that you guys are really good at piecing, you know what to do, and you've got this. You can do this. Use templates. They're there for you. Make your own if you have to make it nice and precise and even. And draw the registration marks. Those are going to help you keep it nice and consistent and even as you're quilting. Keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. We're starting out simple. We're going to get more complicated in Quilters Playground because that's who we are. And then think outside the shape. Think of the other designs. There's a whole world of being square. We're not square people. We are thinking outside of the shapes and we're going to develop our own system, our own techniques. And then stabilize your blocks. One thing that I've learned is stabilizing the blocks really helps it from not shifting and moving. And so it really will keep it in place. So last but not least, remember, get your friends to register. Get them moving forward with quilting, free motion, and automation. That's what we're here for. We're here as a collective group of passionate quilters that just want to become better and better. And you guys are our inspiration. Share it with others and watch us again. But most of all, I want you to know that you can quilt anything. You don't have to use the automation all the time. You don't doubt yourself and don't doubt the power of you. Okay.
And always, we will post this on YouTube. We'll send you guys a link. We love that you guys can take a chance and see it again, catch things you didn't see the first time, or go back and watch old ones, just to refresh your brain when you have a new project coming. You're like, we talked about odd shapes. I'm going to go back and see what we said about odd shapes. So remember, we are here on YouTube. Like, comment, share, all those fun things.